All right, art students, first up we have the Warhorse. And let me give you a little background on this guy. But first, I'm narrating this video, and I really don't do narrating. I just kind of throw it out live and keep on going. But if the audio is bad, it's because I'm using the microphone in the laptop. So yeah, you know now. All right, so as I said, this is the Warhorse. I wanted to do something different. I'm not your typical superhero person because we've got too many superheroes, too many Superman superheroes out there now. So it's like, choose one from the other. So I did something different. I wanted to do a centaur, but I wanted to give this centaur a little bit of life to it. So the backstory on this thing is that in this world there are knights and there are centaurs, and the knights go out to fight, and the centaurs are basically used as pack mules. They carry all of their weapons. So if during battle, if a knight needs to switch out weapons, the centaur is usually always close by to allow the knight to grab a different weapon. So this particular centaur was really, really close to his knight, and then centaurs are not allowed to fight. They were just not allowed. They were just pack mules basically. So when his knight got killed, it just messed him up so much that he pulled out his some of the weapons, and they started fighting. And this was the just kind of like the backstory for this character to give me something to actually feel good about drawing. I guess you should always have a kind of a story on your character. Just don't draw a character without some type of life. So this guy, I just wanted to put a bunch of weapons on him because it didn't start out to be this. It started out just to be, just some kind of centaur picture, but then it hit me. So, he's like the weapons carrier. So I decided to just throw. How many weapons can I throw on there? So I don't know. I think at first I had it, that he was going to be ridden into battle, and then the knight would jump out, but then limited how many weapons I could put on him for a rider. So I just said no. He would walk behind the rider, so I can throw some more weapons on it. And if I do a picture to completion, shall we say, then I like to put a lot of detail on it, a whole lot of detail, as you will see in some of the other pictures that I have done. So one thing this is on the fly. Everything, all the details on the fly. This was not like something I drew and then I said, okay, let me redraw it. It's just as I was drawing it, I just was putting stuff on him, and it's got to be in detail. That's just me. I just over detail it to the point where if it's time to ink, I'm scared. I'm not an inker. I can ink, but I just don't have the confidence to ink because if you mess up in inking, there's no going back. Um, all your time of design and your lines you did with the pencil, and that was always my fear. So if I do ink something and I mess up the smallest line, I don't like it. So this was put up somewhere. It's somewhere, and I was going through my computer yesterday looking at my old stuff, and I found this and the other two after this, and I said, this is pretty good. So let me just put this up just to show you guys. So, I didn't do anything with it. I didn't do anything with the story, but maybe later down the road I can do something with it. But it was an interesting character. It came out to be an interesting character. As I said, it wasn't something that just made me jump for joy when I finished it, but when I looked at it later, I'm like, it's pretty good. So I don't like to do fast motion when I ink because I always turn the paper, and you should turn your paper when you ink. I don't understand how people can tape a paper down and ink and make it look so good. I wish I could do that, but I can't. But I have to turn my paper, and you always pull your pen. You pull it. You never push it. So I turn my paper in order for me to pull it to stay on the line that I am inking. Now I would scan it and color it, but I do believe it is on a large size piece of paper. And back in the day, that's all I drew on was big poster boards because I didn't know any better. And it was before scanners and all of that anyway. So we are coming to an end. Once I do the tail last, it'll be the end of this one. These were just quick videos that like I said, I just found them last night, and I said, let me put these up. So that's it. All right, so next up is the Death Dealer. That's not actually his name, it's just a type of character, but I had to name it something just to put it, in my folder. So if you ever seen the movie Fire and Ice, this is what the idea came from that movie. I love that movie. It's an animation. I think it was like in the late 80s. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it because that was just some great motion capture that they were doing. So this guy, he started out flat. I really didn't like him. And as you see, I keep erasing and erasing. And I really didn't know what it was going to come out to be. I kind of had something in my head, an idea, but I just, as I say, I design characters on the fly, and I put stuff on them just to put stuff on them to make them look like the character, because every character has to have his particular, what's the word? So if he's like a gunfighter, he's got to have guns. He's got to have holsters, that type of thing. So this being like a barbarian type of killer, I don't say killer, but barbarian. He has to have to fit he has to have the clothes to fit the period and his actions that he does. So I wanted to put some was it chainmail armor on him, but I was kind of like scared to do that. And there are a lot of things that I want to do, but I say to myself, man, that's going to be hard. But I just go for it. I go for it. Hopefully it all comes out. Then I'm happy with the drawing. But if it doesn't, then I just move on because I have so many ideas that just keep running through my head. This is why I have so many characters, which is why I'm going to start doing um, more action pose positions for the video, and I'm going to take it to completion by using one of my million characters that I have laying around in the closet, in the folders, on the shelves somewhere. So that's going to be the next series in the YouTube videos. Taking them to completion. I will show them to you on the regular YouTube, and then in my Patreon, I will take them to completion because there are some things that YouTube will not be happy with, but if it's my channel, then I can do what I do, especially when it comes to drawing female characters. So this is another one that's on the fly, and I want to just detail as much detail as I could get in there. And here we are with the inking, especially when I do like double lines, small double lines, that kind of, it scares me. And a lot of times I will let a picture sit for days before I can get the courage to go ahead and ink. And I don't know why I do that, but it's me, and I need to stop and just ink it when I finish it. But you always walk away from your pictures. As I say, walk away, come back, and then you'll see if there's something wrong. Then once you're sure that's all right, then you start to ink. Give him a little background so he won't be just standing in a blizzard somewhere. My signature rocks in front and behind. That gives you some perspective. Little volcano going off because that's the time period he's living in. And then put just a darker edge around the whole thing. I don't do heavy shadows. I really don't. I need to. I see people that do it and I like it, but me, I don't really like to do heavy shadows. Basically because of the fear that I might mess something up. But I have to get over that and start doing what I see in my head and what will make the picture better. Don't be afraid of your talents. But I tend to like let the color bring out the shadows and so forth. But never color this one. All right, so that is it for the Death Dealer. All right, so this one is, I was going to do a wizardess, female or wizard, I guess it's just wizard. But I started to draw it, and then I said, let me film this because I might be able to use it later. And as I said, these were just in my memory somewhere in the computer, just on my hard drive, external drive. I have 5. That's how many pictures I have. I have 5 external drives. And so I was going through them yesterday and I saw them, or last night, and I saw them and I was like, let me put these up. So as I said, I started drawing her and I inked her face, and that's something I never, ever, 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 ever do before I finish a picture is ink her face. So that was like, number one mistake right there. But the face looks good. Like I said, I look at it in the beginning, I don't like it, but then later on I come back and was like, that's good. You need to finish it. But I know she sat around for months and months before I even picked it back up. So again, costume design is on the fly. I want to give her something different, something that would fit her style and the period that she's living in. As I said, she is like a wizard or sorceress or sorcerer or whatever. That was basically, her thing. No backstory. It's just, she was just a wizard. So that was all the backstory I needed to do that. So I really wanted something to fit in there, just not just clothes or just open. So I tried to work out something. Eventually I came up with this design, but I had to keep changing it because it just didn't fit. And finally, I got something that I thought fit. But as I say, if I take a picture to completion, I have to put detail in it. And again, I think this one is on sorry. This one is on a kind of like a no, this is sketchbook. This is sketchbook size. So I think I can scan it. I lost it for a second. I'm looking at trying to look at the edges of it. It should be scannable where I can actually scan it and clean it up or something. But there's so many ideas that run through my head on a daily basis. This is why I'm surprised that I got that one as far as it did. I started to color it, but I didn't know what color to make the rest of the clothes, so I never finished. And today, it's still, as you see at the end of this video, more detail. Now, I wasn't going to make it red. That's this thing. I want something different. Always try to make something different for people to see. There's so many knockoff Supermans because people really just, I don't know. I don't think they want to think, or maybe they just, I don't know. I always try to think of something different so people can see and think, oh wow, that's nice because it's different. It's not just a Superman, get over. So that was back in the period when I started to color. I didn't have all the markers that I had now. I just had a few, and I was like really trying to get the skin tone right. And I would use color pencil after that to kind of bring out the shadows or deepen the shadows. And once you mark it, you can't bring out anything unless you try to get white over it. So this is going to be it for this one though, because I didn't. This is as far as I got on it. So I will say now, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video, which hopefully will be coming out very, very soon. Got to get back into it. All right. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up.